Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. How y'all doing? It's Kaiser. And yes, the Acolyte is kind of back in the news again. Because, yeah, well, now that the second season is canceled and it is not going forward with anything new for this series, quickly there was a very hilarious amount of backlash that actually started going across the interwebs. Yeah, it's hilarious to me to watch because then we have articles now that are out there trying to explain away all the problems of the Acolyte in the series. Just let's get into it because some of this is just too damn funny for you to miss. I mean, seriously, this is hilarious. So let's start with Kotaku saying, blame modern TV for Star Wars The Acolyte's cancellation. The series was forging new paths and telling different stories in a franchise that often leans too much on nostalgia. Sure. Well, let's just skip down here a little ways and let's get to the meat and potatoes of what they're saying there. All right, so Kotaku, speaking on The Acolyte, quote, it won't get a second season on Disney+, and right now the worst behaved members of the Star Wars fandom are celebrating its demise. Okay, you kind of got us there because, yeah, I'm very happy to see that this pile of shit got canceled because it was terrible. It was not well written for the amount of budget that was spent on this and the product we got. How we have entire sections of the show, rehashed episodes. It looks cheap. It's terribly acted. The writing is completely insane and off the wall. This was the best they could do, and for $180 million. Yeah, makes you wonder what really some of that money went to, because I'm pretty sure you probably could have made a much better Star Wars series on about half the budget if you had any idea what you were doing whatsoever. So let's just continue on here. So they get into the flaws of modern TV. The rise of disparate and expensive collection of streaming services replacing the basic cable subscription for millions of paying customers has drastically changed the landscape of modern television. Also, partially right, because yeah, used to be cable cutters like myself were like, oh, well, I don't want to pay for cable whenever there's a bunch of stuff on there I don't even watch. We could just get the streaming services that we do want to watch, which when cable cutting really started, you had like 2, 3 streaming services. When you actually accounted for how much they cost you, it was less than a cable package at the time. Now with streaming services that they keep going up in price, and now there's a billion of them. So it gets really expensive really quick, and suddenly cable TV looks a whole lot cheaper. Suddenly. Yeah, that is the truth. That is fundamentally the case right there. But I think you missed the point. Let's just get going. The Star Wars problem. In recent years, the only successful deviation from traditional Star Wars media has been Andor, the spy thriller-esque series starring Diego Luna that's a spin-off of 2016's Rogue One. Despite it reportedly not having as large a viewership as The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor's second season is set to debut sometime in 2025. Yep. Say, there's... Okay, we need to talk about that because they're upset that Andor is getting a second season, but this show isn't. Well, the thing is that, well, this show really had no redeeming qualities. It was all nothing but just representation and a whole bunch of politics and this and that just painted the characters, the Jedi, the things that we know and love from Star Wars in a bad light. It completely tore up some of the things that we actually really liked about Star Wars, mainly the Jedi. And the moral issues that the whole script for this goes into, it's kind of insane to me. And look, there's a whole other topic of conversation on the morality of this show. It's just Yeah, there's a whole lot of problems there. So the question is, why is Andor, which didn't do well, but did better than this? Why is Andor getting a second season and this show isn't? Well, the fundamental information right there I can tell you is that, one, while Andor didn't do well during its primary streaming run, like whenever it first premiered, it actually started to make up a lot of ground after the series was over. Like, a lot of word of mouth helped that series, and people started saying, hey, actually, Andor's pretty good. It's well written, it's got interesting characters, and it's actually decent. It's good. Well, that right there will draw a lot of fans to it. And surprisingly, when you actually have a reverence for the lore and you actually do something good and interesting with the people and the characters and actually make a competent series, even though it didn't top out in the streaming services numbers at the time, it really did well on streaming over a longer period of time. So, yeah, have to take that into consideration there. I say this show lost 50% of its viewership compared to 50% of the viewership of even compared to Andor. And it's terrible. Look, there's not going to be a lot of people that watch this show on Disney Plus continuing forward. It's going to just die on the vine. That's all there is to it. This is going to be one of those. I honestly would not be surprised if the Acolyte gets willowed at some point. I'm just going to say it. So going forward in there, so yeah. A specific set of fans are notoriously resistant to positive perceived changes in lore or the centering of marginalized folks in Star Wars media. Bullshit. And the Acolyte pissed them off from the jump. Run by a woman with a black non-binary lead, lesbian space witches, and a blistering take on the flaws of the Jedi, it became a focal point of the culture wars before it even aired. Okay, yeah, again, partially right, but here's the issue. Okay. Run by a woman, don't care. Run by a black non-binary lead, don't care. Where we get into issues is where we start having lesbian space witches and redefining what the Force is, and then basically making the Jedi out to be instead of an actual order of knights that is actually there to protect the galaxy. Suddenly you're trying to turn them into basically the equivalent of like CPS and do all kinds of things with them that the Jedi are just never did. It just, yeah, the take on the Jedi was terrible. So yeah, it naturally, when you do something like that and it goes against a lot of the fundamental things that we, know about the series, it just goes badly. So Kotaku wrote that article, but then CBR over here put this one out. Disney canceling the Acolyte sends a bad message to the entertainment industry. Okay. I love how they put these summaries up here, because this is, yeah, a lot of it sums up kind of where they're going with this. So the Acolyte's recent news is that it's been canceled after only one season shows a number of problems, not with the show itself, but with the entertainment industry. No, I think it's the show. Let's be honest. And then secondly, they say stories led by female characters and people of color are still being put on the back burner for the sake of appealing to a toxic audience that advocate against change. Wrong. We don't care about that. Just make good stories that actually are honorable to the lore and don't completely throw things that we loved into the shitter. Star Wars has the money and the creators to give the Acolyte a long lifespan it deserves, but the franchise is held back by limited viewpoints and skepticism of independent stories. Oh, there's a lot of bullshit there. Let's get into this. Okay. So yeah, let's just quote it. Only a month after its finale, The Acolyte has been added to the list of television shows canceled too soon. Disney and Lucasfilm have decided not to go forward with the Acolyte Season 2, a Star Wars show that divided fans so horrendously it made non-Star Wars fans question what was so controversial about the series. The negative uproar in the series was the exact controversy of itself. The Acolyte tried something new and out of the box, and some people didn't like it. I wouldn't say it tried to do something new and out of the box. I think what it actually tried to do was take what we already liked and shit on it. Just saying. What's confusing about this entire situation is that Disney and Lucasfilm apparently had plans for the Acolyte's future. But the real problem lies with Disney and Lucasfilm succumbing to the pressure that the poisonous side of the Star Wars fandom laid on them. Okay, so you're saying that it's the fault of the fans why this series didn't actually get a second season. You know, playing devil's advocate here, I mean, again, I have to say, you're partially right. The thing is, the part that you're actually right about is that, yeah, the problem was that that people didn't like this. So Disney, Star Wars, Lucasfilm was kind of put in a bad situation because nobody showed up to watch this piece of shit. We have the numbers. We can actually go to this over at That Park Place with John F. Trent writing this one, and we can actually look at the Nielsen numbers. We can see that at the highest point that it went, it was still only the bottom 10th in the streaming numbers. And even then, compared to the series that came before, even compared to Andor, it was 50% lower in viewership to Andor, which already before this series was the lowest rated, was the lowest viewing numbers for a series at the time during its premiere. Andor got better and actually had better, had better legs over time. That's why it's getting a second season, but they can't accept that. Yikes. And this is where things get even more hilarious for me. So they're saying people object to POC, LGBTQ+, and female stories in big franchises. Guys, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And nobody wants this shit shoved in their faces, okay? Nobody wants everybody's sexual politics shoved in their faces, okay? Nobody gives a fuck about the color of your skin. Nobody cares about that. Is your character interesting or good, or is your character at least interesting? If you don't have any of those things, then yeah, well, it is what it is. And yeah, you can tell right away how they color this, saying women, people of color, and LGBTQ plus members of Star Wars are trapped in an endless cycle of hate. Again, bullshit. Yeah. It's not outrageous to say that Star Wars fandom has always been ruthless when given something they're not used to. Since the sequel trilogy, the harassment towards actors is filtered based on gender and race. No. Kelly Marie Tran, Moses Ingram, Daisy Ridley, and John Boyega were just a few to receive volatile threats and disgusting comments simply for portraying characters in the sequel trilogy of Star Wars shows. Why? Because they're not straight white men like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo were. Now the same has happened to the Acolyte. All right, let me back up here. All right. Those series, those shows, those movies, they sucked at writing. They didn't have a good story, and they didn't do anything meaningful with the characters, okay? Kelly Marie Tran, her character was just not likable. Okay? I'm just going to be honest. Her character was not likable. Do I blame her for that? No, I blame the writers. I blame the people who were the directors and the people that made her, that basically told her what to do in this show. Moses Ingram. I don't blame Moses Ingram, for her portrayal of, Reva. I blame the people that wrote that character, who directed her on how to act and what to do. Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, all of these people, I don't blame them for how bad their characters were, because they were just acting to the best of their ability, some better than others. But the fact of the matter is, they were written terribly, and they were not interesting or good characters. Okay? That's all there is to it. Just, again, moving on. The series was first to be created and written by a woman, Leslie Headland, specifically a queer woman, former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, who felt important to have queer representation in The Acolyte. Many fans took this as a checking off the box narrative. Yeah, because it was. Because Disney has been caught doing exactly that. Yeah, where have you been living under a rock? Because we literally have the documents to prove that that's exactly what they've been doing. They recently got unmasked for a lot of very questionable hiring practices by James O'Keefe. There was the whole thing with their, the not-so-secret gay agenda. There was the whole other thing about the leaked documents from inside Disney, basically saying that they have quotas for how many of whatever different representation groups they have to have in a show before they even consider greenlighting it. Yeah, it is nothing but checking off boxes. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, here's where we get some interesting stuff. So they even burying the lead a little bit here to say, well, there's room to critique the story. It doesn't require commenting on a person's skin color, gender, or sexual orientation. Guess what? I agree. That's why I haven't done that. I've flat out said, look, I don't care what their skin color is. I don't care their race or gender or sexual orientation. Is your character not crap? Is it at least well written? Do you have something interesting that you do with the character? I feel like I'm being pretty consistent here. Yeah, the intolerable racism by fans prompted lead actor Amanda Stenberg to create the music video titled Discourse about the hate she received for her dual roles. Okay, well, two things. First of all, it was not dual roles. She played one character two different ways and had one facial expression for all of it. Terrible acting. I'm just saying it. She's not a great actress. Some of that might be direction. I don't know exactly on that one, but I'm just going to say, not a good actress. And yeah, to her whole thing about the intolerable racism by fans, yeah, they've never produced a single shred of actual proof that that's the case. They've never actually, let's be real. Amanda Stenberg, Disney, anybody have never produced a single shred of proof. They've never shown anybody any actual proof, verifiable proof of this, quote, intolerable racism by fans. They've never been able to show us what anybody said. And I've said it very consistently from day one. Guess what? Show us the people who are saying these things and what they're saying. And yeah, guess what? We don't like the kind of people that do that shit in the fandom to begin with, okay? Actual, legitimate, verifiable racism, all that shit, not okay. But you can't show us a single actual shred of it, and you have never done so. So all we're left with is hearing you say the words, but we can't actually prove that. Yeah. Continuing on, Disney had to know the dark side of the fandom would be unleashed when they hired a female LGBTQ+ and POC actors. Fuck off. It's inevitable with this fandom. Yeah, again, fuck off. But it's Disney's job to protect them from backlash, so why did Disney give in to the very people who caused the damage in the first place? Because nobody watched the show, and if nobody watches the show doesn't make money. What else do you want me to say? Yeah, let's just get to this. And yeah, they even, again, burying the lead, they say it right here. One reason Disney refused to stand up for the Acolyte is the root of all evil, money. The reality is that Disney puts profits first and creativity second. Yes, we know every single company puts profits first. If you don't have a good product, then you're not going to make money. Sorry, folks, just going to level with you. Disney is a capitalist company. You live in a capitalist country in the United States of America. And guess what? It is the almighty dollar to which these shows, and by extension, all these entertainment outfits, must bow. Done. That is exactly what is happening there. Come on. This is, yeah. I can't with these people. I can't. Oh, and it gets even better when because then now here below this, they say, no matter how much the Acolyte dominated streaming charts within the same release dates as the House of the Dragon and The Boys, if there's a risk that Disney would have lost viewership, they wouldn't take it. No matter how much Acolyte dominated streaming charts. You mean the streaming charts that you only showed up on for 1 week and it was the finale and it was the bottom of the fucking barrel? Yeah, how, yeah, your numbers for the show were completely shit. You didn't show up anywhere in this thing. Yeah. About how this show, The Acolyte, was... Again, what streaming charts are you saying that you dominated? Because the one that matters, like the ones that all of us have actually looked into, you were not trending on any of them. Even the... It's like, yeah, even Luminate from Variety, which tracks pretty much everything and where it's at and what it's doing. Yeah, even Luminate dropped the Acolyte off of its charts because it went too low for even them to calculate after only like a couple of weeks. After the episode 3, it was gone. I mean, come on. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. What streaming charts are you reading that says that Acolyte was dominating? When, where, and how? I have questions. So, yeah. And then they get down here to the bottom saying that these TV shows are not given time to find their footing. In general, streaming services are too careless when it comes to canceling shows. If you don't produce a product that actually makes money, you're going to get canceled. Just saying. Nowadays, when people recommend shows to their friends and coworkers, they might say, oh, the first season was kind of slow, but it gets really good in season 2. The first seasons weren't perfect, but they had just enough spice to make it even better in the second season. Aren't all first seasons just an experiment to see what works and what doesn't, so that showrunners can improve on the next season? Even first seasons have to at least have some level of profit or some reason, some level of... They have got to bring something to the table in order for them to actually get made and for people to actually have enough faith in them that they're going to make money in another season. That's just the way it is. Streaming services don't allow the same grace period. Bullshit. Yeah, and yeah, again, complete bass-ackwards lying from people who apparently don't know shit about the industry. Story-wise, it wasn't going to be for everyone. Oh, gee, now you mentioned down here in the final paragraph of this fucking article, story-wise, it wasn't going to be for everyone. Gee, maybe it was for the fact that there's nobody that this show was for except a very small fringe minority of the audience that actually even gave a shit about it. Yeah, just saying. This didn't this did not have broad market appeal. It was appealing to one very specific small demographic. It was doomed from the start. And, well, you kind of ended up with what you got. But as more shows led by women, LGBTQ plus creatives, and POCs get canceled, it sends a signal to the other networks and services that people aren't interested in their stories. It limits the amount of diversity allowed in the entertainment industry. It also permits the obscene animosity that's fragmented the Star Wars fandom. Okay, hold up a second. This part right here. You're saying that this is sending a bad signal by canceling this to entertainment industry because it's canceling stuff that's created by women, LGBT, ABCDQF, whatever. I don't fucking care. Shit. And, you know, people of color. Okay. Let me be completely up front here and honest. I just want to make sure this is completely out there. Please understand very simply that, again, those things should not be the entire reason why your show is being made in the first place. Also, can you think of a more protected class these days than women, LGBTQ plus people, and people of color in this modern economy? No, you can't, because there are literally entire incentives. I just talked about Disney's hiring quotas, all of that shit that literally push these types of people to the front of the freaking line. Okay, you've got more obvious privilege than the so-called white male privilege that you're supposedly railing against. Yeah, try being a white guy in Hollywood these days. You ain't getting hired for shit. Yeah, let's just be real about that here for a second. We know this because, again, James O'Keefe and his whole expose on Disney's hiring practices. We have the not-so-secret gay agenda stuff again. We also have Disney's hiring quotas again. We have all this stuff. We have documentation to back this up. You cannot actually think that this is any remote way credible. And it's not just Kotaku and CBR. There are so many of these articles coming across here saying that the show was canceled after fan backlash and that it's sending a bad sign and it's not boding well for the future of Star Wars. And yeah, the horrifying trolling going on after the Acolytes is a cancellation. Quote, stay away. Okay. Again, yeah, I'm just leveling with you there on all that. Okay. All of this, I know we're way into this at this point, and I know this is getting long, but look, I figured this was needed. It's so funny as well to watch the absolute meltdown that some of these people are having on social media. Yeah, this one from a person like literally at Dial of Destiny. I'm sorry, but you're naming your YouTube handle is literally the same title as the worst Indiana Jones movie ever made that flopped horribly. Yeah, this one's saying F Disney, F Lucasfilm, F Dave Filoni, and F Jon Favreau, F Kathleen Kennedy, F Star Wars Theory, Incels, F Grogu, F all of you. Yeah, yeah. Wah, cry about it. To which I responded in kind. Yeah. But, oh yeah, somebody aggregated some of the TikToks of these people just having their meltdown. It's so funny to watch. We gotta just watch.
So the Acolyte was canceled.
It's definitely because incels didn't like two people of color holding hands. We're not going to forget that.
They hit the second tower.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and let everybody know, any of these claims, you can literally go back anywhere in this video and find rebuttals to that and proof, because that's what I do. I provide proof to whatever I say, that all of this stuff is bullshit.
It was set up to fail from the beginning. When the Acolyte was first announced as a female-run show with Leslie Headland at the helm, starring a black
By the way, Leslie Headland, former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. Just saying.
femme and a diverse cast of characters, unlike we had seen in a Star Wars project before. The review bombers took to the internet before the show even had a chance to air.
Oh, review bombing. Yes, I thought I was forgetting something. Review bombing. Yeah, no. Wrong.
I understand that it got review bombed to an insane degree by so many people who were hating on it just because of what seemed like internal prejudice.
Amanda Stenberg, who not only gave a phenomenal performance as Osha, but also as her twin.
Phenomenal performance with one facial expression, mind you. Yeah, one person playing two characters exactly the same with one facial expression between all of them. Yeah, sorry. Again, I'm sorry. Amanda Stenberg just in this series could not act. I'm just saying. That's my personal opinion.
Sister May had no choice but to stick up for themselves and defend herself against the vitriol and bigotry that she was receiving because Lucasfilm did not protect her.
Again, prove it. You've never proved it. You've never shown any of the so-called hate or what bigotry or whatever crap that you're claiming. Prove it. Yeah, I'm just muting that in case there's the music over that, because
Star Wars fans were divided, and by that I mean incels of the internet and of Twitter.
Managed to pull
oh yeah, of course, it's all incels.
so well.
Lucasfilm didn't do anything to protect the cast and the crew of the Acolyte.
Why can't the girls have fun things for the girlies? Why?
Okay, seriously, I don't know if there's any copyright on that music.
How fragile you guys are to storytelling.
And it was for the girls on board.
Leslie Headland was so dedicated as a fan of Star Wars.
So when Mother Anicia says this quote, and the whole show is literally about people of color.
Ask me what I'm about to do. I'm about to cry. Thank you for asking.
Nobody cares.
About what the incel said.
You guys bullied Amanda.
Oh god,
Stenberg
incels again.
So bad.
The Acolyte, it was kind of to be expected considering how it is set in the universe that has, if not one of then the most toxic fan base like ever.
To receive this news,
Bullshit.
I like him.
Mourning the fact that we're not getting any more Khmer edits because we're not going to get any more source material.
Do you mean?
Oh yeah, sorry, shippers, you're not going to be getting any more of the shipping of those two characters. Seriously, get a life.
It wasn't bringing in the view.
The viewership was not bad. The press setting is very scary and very concerning.
The viewership wasn't bad. Yeah, your viewership was 50% lower than Andor's premiere and the finale, which again, prior to this series was the lowest performing series on Star Wars series on Disney Plus. Just saying.
What Lucasfilm is doing with this decision is allowing the bigots to win, allowing the bigots to run with this and decide, even if that's not the original intention of canceling the show, that they have won, that they are correct, that Star Wars needs to be white and male, and it can't be.
No, we don't care. We had diverse characters before, but they were interesting. Oh my god, really? Seriously, these people are going to drive me like to have an aneurysm or something like that.
Anything else?
Yeah. So yeah, that was some of the meltdown bullshit going on over there on Twitter. Well, folks, we've come to the end of it, and we can finally close the book on the Acolyte because at this point it's kind of a done deal. And honestly, I'm happy for it. Sorry to all y'all who are fans of the Acolyte, I'm not really sorry this is canceled. I'm not. Is what it is. It was a piece of shit, and it will rest in shit. So until next time, guys, remember the power of one, the failure of one, the failure of two, The failure of many. That is all I got for today, you guys. Thank you, if you are seeing this, for hanging out to the end of the video. I know this was a lot longer than I usually go for these videos, but this has been this has been something to just to make a chronicle of this for the ages. Yes. Yeah. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.